What is to be done when two beliefs seem to be at odds all the way down to rock bottom? All of reality, or not as it is, but rather just a yellow banana. When we share a unifying ethic of curiosity and a search for truth, with others we become stewards of the future and should be praised for our aim at harmony with one another and with the world. A while ago, I released a video introducing the concept of the space of ideas. It seems to me that we are able to compare and contrast beliefs, claims about reality, really anything one can conceive of. In this video, I'm going to be expanding on the idea of truth, or rather, the parameter congruence, which is sort of a spectrum on which truth and falsehood exist on opposite ends. Thank you for listening. Truth, and how we come to know it, is a struggle all people necessarily contend with through life. I aim to offer, for your consideration, what I believe to be a strong definition of truth. Truth and its negative, false, are opposites in the sense of heads and tails. They are two sides of the same coin. They are the positive and negative descriptions of a single parameter, which I choose to call congruence. Congruence is the degree to which concepts map to reality. This, akin to the mathematical sense of mapping between sets. There is, conceptually, a set of information which describes reality. Such is what is available to Laplace's demon in the apt and classic deterministic thought experiment. If reality is fundamentally deterministic, then this set which describes reality for a point in time also describes reality for all points in time. If reality is fundamentally non-deterministic, then this conceptual set of information varies for all moments in time and may be perceived convergent from the past to the present, yet divergent with respect to the future. Acknowledging both cases only so far as to be possible descriptions of reality is sufficient to proceed with this discussion of congruence and truth. To do this, I will not focus on Laplace's demon particularly, rather I aim at the set of information available to it. The set of information which describes reality is at least conceptually valid for all distinct moments in time, and is the largest possible set of information definitionally. When we hold beliefs, when we make claims about reality, these are substantiated physically as a structure and signal in the body, and they are validated by their degrees of coherence, relevance, and meaning. Beliefs are both physical and conceptual, and in both forms are substantiated by information. All beliefs, all claims, all concepts and notions are a subset of the information available to Laplace's demon, this largest set of information. There is, then, necessarily a relationship between these sets, wherein the subset may be more or less representative of the larger set. This relation is congruence. If congruence as a parameter of concepts is the degree to which the set of information which is the substance of a concept is representative of the set of information which would perfectly describe reality, then truth is the positive sense of this, and false is the negative. That which is true is that which maps closely and consistently with reality. That which is true seems to tend to remain true across time and contexts. Evidence of that which is true tends to dispel false notions. When we hold a belief, and it is reaffirmed by experience and evidence, we become more justified in that belief. Consider as an admittedly playful thought experiment that all of reality were not as it is, but rather just a yellow banana. No universe, no history, just a yellow banana, and outside of this, us, transcendent beings who may behold and consider it. By my definitions, the concepts of yellow and of banana are true concepts. They are highly congruent with reality. They are substantiated conceptually by the information that can be conceived of as we, the subjects of this thought experiment, hold in our regard the yellow banana, its yellowness and banananess. These concepts are substantiated physically by the physical manifestation of the real yellow banana. Concepts of red apples, or leadership, or helicopters, or vanity are false concepts. They don't map well to anything in this reality that can be understood in terms of the yellow banana. Now expand reality from just the yellow banana to our shared existence in the world, to the microscopic world, and the great cosmos beyond us. What can be understood in terms of what we find in this reality? It is in this sense I suggest truth and false for concepts are the degree of mapping to reality. Though that which is true seems to have objective qualities, truth is something that we engage with in as many fashions as there are individuals with unique experiences. This can be shown in many ways. I will proceed with consideration of how we use language. We learn to make sounds, to communicate the concepts of internal phenomena we have experienced and external phenomena we have beheld. When we describe external objects or internal experiences with language, in our own minds or aloud, we distinguish these objects or experiences from everything else. This act of articulation delineates to our attention the relevant set of information from the possible set of information. Consider the concepts of an object and of a structure. Now, consider a cup on a table. Now, consider a coffee mug on a dining room table. Now, consider a small beige coffee mug filled 2/3 full with a dark roast coffee brewed from South American beans earlier this morning, set approximately at the head seat of an old wooden dining table which has been recently refurbished with a light sealant, and which has belonged for several generations to the family of the owners of the building that the table is in. Finally, reconsider the concepts of an object on a structure. In this thought experiment, each of these delineations, these concepts, in order before the final, is substantiated with more information conforming to the set of information which describes reality. They are bearing more truth. Finding ourselves in the circumstance of noticing an object like a mug on a structure like a table, we might make the simpler observation of an object on a structure. Or we might make any of the more complex observations which are approaching the thing in itself. This is one manner in which we differentially engage with truth. Note that in the first examples, which were less wordy, a more abstract set was referred to, and that in the final example, which was verbose, a very specific concept was delineated to our attention. It is often the case that the wielding of less language leaves open more possibility for meaning, and the wielding of more language culls away possibility in service of calling attention to the very specific. This is one simple linguistic example of how truth and how we come to know it is a struggle all people necessarily contend with through life. The opposite of truth, false, can be shown quickly by extending the example negatively. Finding oneself in the exact same circumstance, where all available objective evidence indicates the presence of an object like a cup on a structure like a table, one might subjectively believe they are noticing an empty table or a bowl on a stool. We are certainly capable of experiencing false notions and having delusions or just being wrong. It is truly a blessing that for most of us, most of the time, consciousness is supported with some level of regular reliability of the senses. Where we are able to overcome differences of engagement with reality, we are able to communicate with one another. Where we cannot, we struggle to cooperate. It is with those whom we encounter less barriers to understanding a shared circumstance that we more easily build relationships. This is true socially, and perhaps unintuitively, it is also true personally. We are neither a simple nor constant self. We are ourselves across all moments of our lives, how we present ourselves to all others, and we bear a relationship in each present with our past and with our potential. We constantly take in new information, and we change, according to the interaction between our genetically guided growth and all of the information from our environment, which has had any impact on our bodies. The state of the relationship between our present self and our past and our potential can often be gleaned from experiences of inner peace or of cognitive dissonance. We feel more peace when we accept our past and when we have reasonable expectations for a positive future. We experience cognitive dissonance when we perceive a gap between reality and our expectation of it. At a social level, collective understandings of truth substantiate culture. This is fundamental to the shared beliefs and practices by which we navigate the world, similarly to one another. Within cultures, individuals behave similarly in similar circumstances because they have similar expectations of how their behavior will mediate a situation and its outcomes. And also because we mimic, acting out behaviors similar to those we observe from others. Within culture, there is a simplification of the process of coming into relationship with others. Outside of a culture, its beliefs and practices may seem unusual. To understand another culture often requires abstraction on principles from one's own. Truth is a measure of objective consistency. Descartes, Kant, and others have discussed at length what truths can be known a priori, before subjective experience. To broadly generalize a small fraction of their work in present terms, there seems to be a minimum set of information necessary to substantiate existence as such, and a correlated minimum set of information necessary to substantiate a conscious mind. And because the conscious mind is mediated from all of reality by an embodiment, it does not have access to all the information of reality. Bayesian thinking supports that awareness of objective truth can be approached with increasing confidence by iterated confirmation. For any claim or belief, its validity is supported strictly by the state of evidence. In present terms, the aim of a good Bayesian thinker is, through the synthesis of all available information, to iterate and evolve the set of information, which is the substance of one's beliefs, to map ever closer to the set of information which describes reality. These are some of the best tools we have available for improving our shared understanding of this existence we find ourselves in. Is there, then, an optimal protocol for overcoming obstacles of divergent belief? I submit that yes, this is so. More than this, it is appropriate and necessary to hold shared beliefs to make progress towards social goals. Trivially, to observe progress towards a goal. Progress and goals must themselves as concepts be defined to set an expectation with which reality is to be compared. Our bodies are capable of this process, both consciously and unconsciously. It seems that this has been driven into us, into what we are, over a time span which is difficult to conceive of relative to the amount of time any of us have access to individually. The method by which we come to have shared beliefs with others is an abstraction of the process by which we come to hold consistent beliefs internally. We are always able to ask of ourselves, what positively substantiates our beliefs, and what are their logical consequences? Where we find poor evidence or argument, there is the opportunity for further discovery and discussion. Where we find contradiction, there is the opportunity for further inspection. That which can be stated with strong argument, and which extends far with logical consistencies, is most closely what we can know as true. What is to be done when two beliefs seem to be at odds all the way down to rock bottom? There are today subjects of opinion for which yet the affirmative and the opposed positions seem to come to ultimate and fundamental impasse. It seems to me that even these can be overcome, that there is always an answer which is more true, more grounded in reality, and able to be shared. We can review syllogistic arguments in terms of their form and the validity of their premises. We can improve arguments from first principles with an expanding circle of peer review. We can improve beliefs, grounded ultimately in subjective experience, with objective Bayesian analysis and with other tools such as Occam's razor. Today, the only prerequisites for collaboration on any front need be goodwill, shared vision, and awareness of available tools for critical analysis. The only roadblocks, the lack of these. When we lean into our predispositions in the face of conflicting evidence, we commit a failing. When we share a unifying ethic of curiosity and a search for truth, with others we become stewards of the future and should be praised for our aim at harmony with one another and with the world. I thank you for considering this definition of truth and its implication that we might make the world better by pursuing it together. Thank you.